Welcome to Ministry Pivot. This is Reverend Russ. Super excited that you decided to join us. Whether it's today, tonight, during the day, whether you're watching, whether you're listening, I'm super excited that you're here. Super excited for what God is doing through Ministry Pivot and all the people who are impacted, not just in the U.S. I'm super excited about that, but all over the world who are watching, who are listening, and getting pieces of knowledge that's helping them in this season of opportunity, helping them to pivot where they are. We're about to round out the first part of this new series that we've been doing called Ministry Calling, and super excited about all of the guests that we had last time. We had Brother Terrell Daniels, who was on Terrell Daniel, who was on, who is a Chick-fil-A owner operator, and he said some really insightful nuggets as how he has pivoted in this season. Please make sure that you go back to the older episodes, the other episodes, so that you can see and hear what Terrell shared on how to pivot even in this season. And excited about my guest that I have today, Aaron Spears. Talk more about Aaron in a moment, but super excited for him to join us here. I am also excited that since the last Ministry Pivot, we've had several articles to come out. Just go over to ministrypivot.com, go to the articles, and you'll see there are several articles, one really practical one talking about the apps that I'm using to help me do ministry, and apps that you may use, app systems and tools that you may use to help you do ministry. Another article that's there is why the chat box is important. We're all online, we're all digital, and why it's important for you to use the chat box and how you use the chat box effectively. And then in partnership with Givelify, super excited about my partnership with them. And those other articles are on Outreach, but you can find them all on ministrypivot.com/articles. But Givelify, I'm working on a three-part series and talking about what does it mean to reopen? What does it mean to go back and in-person worship? And so this first article is dedicated to what does it look like when you reopen and you go back into the building? What does that look like? So excited about all of the tools and resources that you can find on ministrypivot.com. Remember, under the conversations, you'll be able to find more information about the podcast and about the episodes, but also about the show notes. And super excited that people are sharing. Don't forget to like, to share, to save to these episodes so that they can go up in rating, but also so that you can get the information that is being provided. And I'm excited that after my conversation today with Aaron Spears, who is a super great father, great husband, great entrepreneur, super musician, sponsored musician. We'll talk about it. Shout out Aaron. I got one of his shirts on. He has more product and more merch at his website, Aaron Spears. You can just find him online, and you can link in the show notes. You'll see more information there. But also excited that after this series, the next one you're going to see after this episode, I sit down with a good friend of mine, Alan George. Alan used to be the campus pastor, the online pastor, actually, for Life Church, for Life.Church, which is a large church in Oklahoma City, but they have campuses all over the world. And the online campus, they were doing online before online was really a thing. Not just them, several churches, but Alan was leading that. And so we talk about online ministry. So super excited to have Alan on Ministry Pivot, and excited about what he's sharing in this new season of life and what God has done in his life. But again, now I am super excited about our conversation with Aaron Spears. Welcome to another episode of Ministry Pivot. This is Reverend Russ. I'm so excited that you came and you tuned in, you're watching, or you're listening to this new Ministry Pivot. We're doing something a little bit different for a couple of the episodes. This is one of the different episodes. Previously, I've been interviewing and talking with, having conversations with ministry leaders who I know and who I have been serving with and working with. And this podcast, this session is going to be a little bit different. Still people that I know and I appreciate, but they're not in ministry just as a full-time job, but they have a calling. And really, that's what I am calling this set of interviews, this set of podcasts, is dealing with the fact that we have a calling, and our calling is our ministry. And so today I have a special guest with me, Brother Aaron Spears, who is a phenomenal brother, phenomenal father, phenomenal musician, Grammy nominated, a bunch of stuff. He's got endorsements on this. I was joking with a minute ago. I'm not good enough for anything to be signed to it, but he is. And so I'm going to bring him on, let him speak a little bit more about his background, but I'm excited to have Aaron with us, man. Aaron, I appreciate you being on, big homie.
Man,
Really
pleasure,
appreciate
pleasure. It's a pleasure, man.
you
Pleasure
coming
being here with
on,
you.
man.
My
Thanks,
pleasure,
man.
man.
Thanks, man. So now I said a little bit like I know you are of course first a husband, first a dad, Christian, and you are a drummer. You are Grammy nominated. But for those that don't know kind of who you are, like I know you got a long list of what you've accomplished. But if you can just share a little bit so folk kind of are clear, like you're like a national drummer. Like it's like a thing. Like it's what you do. It's one of the things that God has gifted you to do. It's not that
Yeah,
you're just playing sticks.
yeah. No, it's definitely one of my gifts, man. I'm very thankful for, and that gift has given me the opportunity, man, to travel the world and to see things, man, that have just been beyond my imagination. I've played for artists like Usher, Miley Cyrus, Britney Spears. Um, Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande, Backstreet Boys. I mean, Shaka Khan. I mean, I've been really really fortunate, really blessed, man, to be able to do what I love, and for that to be able to kind of take care of me.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. Now, and you listed all of the artists that many of us know. But the first question, right? We're talking about Ministry Pivot. We're talking about
Hmm.
your calling, and we're talking about your gifting. My first thing is, when did you know you were like good at drumming? Like, when did you know you were gonna? Was it only drumming, or was it like entertainment in total?
Yeah, no, for me it's just always been drums. I was a kid. I want to say maybe six or so the first time that I actually played drums by myself in church. My parents, they tell me these stories about how I was banging on things and putting beats together, at like two and three. But the first time that it was really significant for me that I somewhat remember, and my dad has a picture of it at his house with me sitting on the drums. I was six, and I was playing like by myself along with the guys in the band, the bass player, the organist at my church. I grew up Kojic,
Yeah.
so music definitely is a huge part of the service. The instrumentation, definitely is very much like what we have today in church. But that was my first time, like I said, was six, and drums was just kind of like that was the thing. That was it. Nothing else, just drums.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I had a chance to be successful at this until much, much later on in life because growing up here in DC, there's not a lot of people who actually are successful musicians. There's a lot more now, but when I was growing up, you didn't see that. It wasn't like in New York where you see cats that are, just playing out. They're on tour. It wasn't like that here. So it wasn't until I was like um, maybe 20 or so, I want to say, where I was like, man, this might be something that I could actually do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's dope. That's dope. That's dope. Let me ask you the question around with your calling. So I know you named all of the artists, but I remember the Gideon Band, bro.
Hmm.
Um, I remember the Gideon Band, bro.
Yeah.
Like the Gideon Band. And for those that don't know the Gideon Band, I think in the show notes I'm just gonna link a Gideon Band clip
Yeah,
just
that's good.
because.
That's good.
But tell me about that because there was a because you said your dad, your parents were heavy in church,
Oh
and
yeah.
you understood the calling. And I from what I can remember and from what I've read up a little bit, the Gideon Band was kind of the moment that made the shift, or one of the moments that made the
Yeah,
shift.
for sure. Because that's when playing with the Gideon band was when I went from, playing, testimony service, you know, on Sunday mornings to actually playing music and creating music with a band. Very much
Yeah.
the music that we created with Gideon was on the same level as what we would check out if we went to go see an R&B show. It had the same musicality. We had bass, we had drums, we had guitar, we had keys, we had horns. I mean, we were really like going hard, like, we wanted to be the gospel mint condition. So we
Yeah.
had our arrangements and things, man. We worked really hard to make those things super tight. But that was the first place that I was really able to really shine as a drummer. The things that we played and the things that we worked on together really allowed me the platform to really be able to grow. That's the very
Well, that's
first
great.
place. Yes,
Wow.
sir.
Now that's great. That's great. Now we talked a little bit about this offline, but I want you to say it so people can hear it. Because again, if you're
Mhm.
listening, I don't want you to kind of tune out and tune in every now and again. I want you to understand that what we're talking about is the fact that there's a unique gift. And Aaron shared with me earlier about when he realized, or when he saw the opportunity come, but it wasn't until he had some stuff in place on his
Yeah,
side, on the spiritual side. So go
for
ahead,
sure.
I don't want to say
Yeah,
it. It's
so
your story.
nah, I got you. So what happened for me was this: as I was playing with Gideon, and the band is growing, and we're starting to get more notoriety and things. For me, I had a desire to be able to make this a career, and the only place that I knew of that you were able to do that was definitely in R&B or in pop.
Hmm.
So, I had gotten calls to do other things, man. I got called to do Jennifer Lopez, which was cool. But for whatever reason, it did not pan out. I got calls to do a couple other things, and they just kept, just falling. The things,
Yeah.
it didn't work out. And
Hmm.
for me, I really didn't know what it was because I felt like I was on the level. I felt like I was able to play on a level. I felt like I was just as good as the other guys that I had seen out there. But it wasn't until I got serious about church and being a part
Okay.
of church and serving in church and also being obedient with paying my tithes and offerings, that I felt like the door, of my dreams had just opened up, you know. And it's
Yeah.
crazy because I'll never forget. Um, I want to say about a year or so before I started playing with Usher, I went to the actual show.
Yeah.
They came here to DC. They played at the Meriwether Post Pavilion, and I went to the show. And I'm sitting in my seat, and I'm like, "Yo, I would love the opportunity to play with this dude. If it ever came about, God, if it's meant to be, God, you gotta hook this up, make it happen." Um,
Yeah.
and like I said, I really started getting really serious about my walk. I really started getting serious about just being obedient to what it is that God was having me to do. And I got the call, randomly. It's such a random way too, because what happened is my boy who played drums with Mary J. Blige, Gerald Hayward, he was in his hotel room listening to the Gideon Band. Usher's musical director walks into his room because they was just hanging. Usher's musical director walked into his room, was like, "Hey, who are you listening to? What is this? Who is this band?" And he was like, "Oh, that's my boy's Aaron. That's my boy Aaron's band from DC. Oh, Aaron, he's on drums. Ooh, he's fine. Whatever, like showing me love." And
Yeah.
the musical director was like, "Do you think that he'll want to play with Usher?" He was like, "Man, let's call him. Let's ask him." So they asked me. You know what I'm saying? This dude, I
Yeah.
have been trying to open this door myself for so
That's good.
long. I have been trying
Yeah.
to trying to fix it, line things up, put myself in place to be able to do this. And here in a situation that I have absolutely nothing to do with, God is already opening the door for me. He's already preparing it
Wow.
for me. He's preparing the
Yeah.
table for me.
Yeah. That's
They
good.
asked me. They asked me if I was interested, and I told them, yeah. They asked me to send a videotape in of myself playing. I did what they asked me to do, and out of 100 tapes that came in, they selected me to be Usher's drummer. And
Wow.
and that all came from my boy who was listening to me play with the Gideon Band. But while playing with the Gideon Band, I'm being obedient and being faithful to God, and then things
Yeah.
just happen.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
That's dope. That's dope, and that definitely sounds
crazy.
like who God is, man. Because it's in the moment that we don't think, or the moment that we're not anticipating. Because you recorded whatever track they were listening to well
Oh
before,
man,
and had no
way
idea
before,
that
way before.
this might get to something else, but you were doing it because
Nah,
you loved it, and that's
absolutely,
the
and that's
thing.
the thing too. And it's not even like recording with the band was like, oh, this gonna be my way out. oh, I'm doing
Yeah,
this. Well, I'm about to, woo, I'm about to blow up. No, it wasn't
yeah,
even that. It was literally like, hey, this is something that I love, and this is giving, glory and honor to God, and hopefully, by me shining the light that I have is directing people towards Him. That was the whole vibe of that whole experience, and for
yeah.
it to be able to open up that door for me, man, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, that's dope. That's dope. That's dope. Now let me right set things a little bit. So we
Hmm.
got the usher piece. We know the traveling. So explain, help me, because I'm going to ask you the question about how ministry, how your stuff has pivoted right in this season.
Hmm.
But before we get to that, help me understand kind of what was a year like normally before COVID. What was
Oh
a normal
man.
travel year like for
Oh,
you?
dude, it could be it. It definitely depended on who the artist is. So
Hmm.
like, artists like Ush, he would be, based on the promotion and the records and stuff that he would have. I mean, we could be out literally 7, 8 months out the year, easy. I
Yeah.
mean, easily we could be gone from like 3 months at a time, and then we'll come home and
Wow.
chill for maybe a month or so, and then go back out for another 3 months, and then come back
Yeah.
home and chill for a month, and then that would just be the cycle easily with him. Same thing with Ariana.
Wow.
She was so busy last year, bro. I think I was home out of the entire year. I probably was home maybe 2.5, maybe 3 months out the entire year because we were just gone from rehearsals to tour. And the tour
Yeah.
wasn't just in the States, that was international. So we're in Europe, we're in Australia, we're in New Zealand, we're in Asia, we're in South America. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
running, which
Yeah.
was, it's fantastic, on one side because you're doing something that you love. But at the same time, it's like it's so important for me to be able to lock in, with what's most important to me is my family, you know,
Yes. That's good.
and
That's
that's the
good. No,
challenge.
yeah. Yeah. And I will say, I remember, I think it was during the last part. I don't think it was the Usher part, but it was the Ariana part that
Hmm.
you were touring. And I remember seeing you, you would walk because you go to, we go to Kingdom. Shout out Pastor
Yeah.
Watley.
Yes, sir.
I would see you and I'd be like, yo, I'm just excited that you're in the building because I know the schedule is crazy. But
Crazy, bro.
you were faithful to coming in when you could come in.
Yeah.
And I know family is super important for you, for your wife, for your kid.
Yeah.
And so, now let's talk about that a little bit, right? So now that COVID hits, right? And
Hmm.
now
Hmm.
it's the pivot, right? So
Yeah.
now what does that look like? What how has the industry shifted? And
Oh
how have
man.
you shifted? I want you to talk a little bit here, like about the endorsement stuff that I made mention of earlier, because I
I,
see that, man, and every time I see one of those, I'm just saluting you because
I appreciate it.
that's a thing that I think is a major deal.
Well, I'm gonna tell you the endorsements run is so funny, man, because my mom, she teased me to this day. As a kid, we buying everything. I would drag my
Yeah,
mom, beg her, please, can we go to the music store? Please, can we go to Chuck's? Because I need a
yeah,
new cymbal. I need sticks, or I need some drum heads, or whatever it is that I need. I'm at begging, begging, begging. Now, if she comes to the house and she see, man, you got all these drums in here? Man, you got all these cymbals, you got all these. You buy this? They just get this stuff to you? What was they at when you was? So now,
that's funny.
I'm thankful because, the my playing, my playing and then also who I've played for mixed with, who I am as a person, my character, has afforded me the opportunity to be like their platinum level where they give me stuff. It's so crazy, man. I came home to a package today from a company that I do not even endorse. They sent me a symbol that they just came out with because I just
Wow.
told them I like the symbol. And they
Yeah,
know that I'm not trying to be endorsed with them, but it's just the respect or the love that they have for me as a person, the
yeah,
interaction
that's
that we
good.
have. The one thing that's so important, man, that I think a lot of people miss out on is you have to, you human. So
Yeah.
it's important to be able just to have conversation with people. It's important to be able to talk to people. No matter what level you get to, you can't be a jerk. You can't be arrogant. You can't
That's
be
good.
you can't be an
That's good,
a-hole.
bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
Because
good.
because you never know who it is really that you're talking to. You also never
Hmm.
know at what point are you meeting them. You meet them at a point where they might just need a smile because they might be going through something crazy. So I'm thankful for moments like that. Like I said, I came home today and I had a package on the doorstep. And I'm just like, I don't even endorse this company, but they sent me mad stuff. I appreciate that. That's so kind
Yeah,
of them to do that for me. But
yeah,
it's because of like I said, it's the playing, it's um the artists that I've been able to play with, and it's also part of just who I am to kind of it's that whole package that people want to be a part of, which is really cool. I'm very, very thankful for that. That's extremely important to me. Extremely
yeah.
important.
No, that's dope. That's dope. Let me ask you the question around. So in this season, right? You mentioned your
Yeah.
family,
Hmm.
and in this season, what are one of the I guess something that is a byproduct of this
Hmm.
everybody stay at home, no flights,
Oh
6 feet
man.
distance, that's been what's been one of the benefits, right, in this season.
Yeah, I was gonna say it really it depends on your perspective on where you're at with it. So like starting before the pandemic, I was supposed to be on the road with Lady Gaga on tour. She had just put out a new record, and we were gearing up for to tour with her. COVID happened, stuff started getting shut down, tour days start getting pushed back, tour days start getting pushed back, tour days start getting canceled, and it was just like, I'm sorry, man, we're not doing anything right now. I'm like, okay, cool. It is what it is what it is. It's this is our new normal. So for some people, man, they look at that and they down and they angry, they upset. But for me, I'm just living, man, in the silver linings of being able to be here at home, which I'm super
Yeah,
thankful for.
yeah,
I worked on my home studio, made sure that it's up and it's running, which is something I have been wanting to do for a long time. Put a coat of paint in here, got my sound equipment in here, got everything the way that I need it to be, so I could function and play and do what it is that I want to do. But even more than that, outside of music, it's allowed me to be present with my family, which
yeah.
my wife told me. She was like, Aaron, this is the longest that you have been home in the 8 years that we've been married. I'm like, nah, that's not true. Nah. You serious? She's like, uh, absolutely. Like you're always gone. Like you're here for maybe a couple months and then you out. And then you hear, and you may go for a week, but this is the most time that you've consistently been home. She's like, I think this is the first Father's Day that you actually have spent at home. And I'm like, that can't be right.
Wow.
I feel like I've been home I've experienced Father's Day before. We've had Father's Day. She's like, yeah, but you
Yeah,
always out on the road because tours normally start up like around June, July, like around that time, May, June, like during that time frame.
yeah,
That's when things have started to kind of ramp up. So I was like, maybe there is some truth to that. Maybe I haven't been home for Father's Day, but I've missed so many days and so many things, weddings and funerals and birthdays and things like that from being on the road. So for me, this time, I've just enjoyed, being present and being in the
yeah.
moment to help my wife and to help my son. Now, every day I'm online with him, dude. I am the IT tech. I am the assistant principal, the lunch lady. I mean, dog, I'm doing whatever it is that I can just to make sure that he's supported so that way he has what he needs during this time.
Yeah, no, that's dope. That's dope. And I think I shared this in a previous pivot that, for me it was the same thing. Like I didn't not the same thing because I wasn't traveling around the world in that way.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
travel that I did was, different. But I my daughter, man, like I had to get her a new bike this summer because we finally like really taught her how to ride a bike in like the
That's dope.
first 3 weeks of
That's
the
dope.
pandemic. Like it was like, oh
Yeah.
well, we here, we gonna use
Yeah.
this joint. So then I had to
Hmm.
upgrade her to a Trek joint, like, and then I got on bikes. Like but you don't know because sometimes you can allow the world to dictate your pace, and that's the
Hmm.
one thing that I think I'm going to pull from this is even when we get out with the vaccine and all the type stuff coming on, is I'm going to start to dictate my ministry pivot. Like I knew there was stuff that I wanted to do, other stuff, but
Hmm.
ain't had time, couldn't really kind of carve out at moments to be able to do it. And not that I have a ton of time now, because, my pastor who will watch this keeps me busy. Appreciate you, Doc. But there are moments now that I have to be able to do stuff that's been on the list, and really it's been on, and I'm gonna say it again, it's been on the gift list. Like we got
Hmm.
stuff that we just don't tap into. And so that's why I
Hmm.
appreciate people like you, man, and you coming on today to kind of talk through that. And I'm really hoping that that's what people kind of get, that,
Yeah,
your gift is your ministry. And if you treat it right, God is going to allow that to provide in ways that you have no idea about. And
absolutely.
man, I think that's just phenomenal, man. That's just phenomenal. Let me ask you this last kind of parting question. If
Sure.
somebody who's watching, somebody who's listening, um, and they got a gift, right? But
Hmm.
they may have not thought that their gift that they started like at 6, that is really could be a thing.
Hmm.
What are some words to encourage them in that gift? That not to, I got this text that I've been using for months now. Exodus 4, where God is talking to Moses, and Moses is giving all the excuses. He said, how am I going to convince these people? And God says, what's in your hand? And Moses looks up, has a staff in his hand. We know the text, and it's
Hmm.
what
Hmm.
he has, but he's discounted what he has. And God
Hmm. Hmm.
says, throw it on the floor. And he does something what Moses had in his hand for years that
Yeah.
Moses never thought about. Right. And for me,
Hmm.
that's but help somebody with the understanding of their gift, because it may not be in church, right? Like obviously you can use yours anywhere, which is dope. But they may not have that. They may have something else.
Yeah. So this is the thing. A lot of people, man, they get discouraged, before they even cross the finish line. Like
Huh.
they've been working on this thing. They've been, grinding. They, kind of looking, to their left and to their right. They see what other people are doing, kind of with similar things, and other people are succeeding, and other people are growing, and other people are prospering, and they give up before they actually. Oh, someone is calling me right now. Really? Sorry, bro. Sorry. Uh, but people, what I'm saying is like that they'll give up
Yeah.
before they actually make it to the finish line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to stay focused on your gift. You got to do everything that you can to continue to feed your gift until it's
Yeah.
actually able to feed you. You know what I'm saying? I
That's
think
good.
that's an important thing that people they die in the wintertime. And you can't. You got to press on. You got to keep moving. You got to stay with it, and you got to stay positive. And you got to also understand and know that your journey is different from other people's journey. Some people
That's
may
good.
get there quick.
Yeah.
Some people it may take years. For me, I feel like I got to the place that I got to with Usher. I got there late because I knew people that were playing in the industry at 21, 22. And I'm looking at them like, how that huh? What? And it didn't
Yeah.
happen for me until I turned like maybe 20. I want to say I was maybe 28. I think
Yeah.
when I got my first for real gig, but that was my timing.
Yeah.
Trust the timing, trust the process, stay focused, stay positive, and you'll get there. You'll get there. A lot of
That's
times,
what's up.
man, I feel like people when you rush it, that ain't it. A lot of times, people always talk about how God, He's gonna open up a great door and we're gonna walk through this
Mm.
door. But sometimes, man, God closes those doors. And he closes
Yeah.
those things for a reason. I feel like myself personally, when I was so excited about playing with these different artists and getting calls for these things, and they all ended up crumbling for one reason or another. They just didn't work out. I think that was God's
Wow.
way of closing those doors to protect me from what was behind them. Because I
That's
wasn't
good.
ready. I
Yeah.
wasn't
That's
ready.
good.
It wasn't my
Yeah.
time. So a
Yeah.
lot of times, people you get so down because things ain't happening the way it's supposed to. It's just God's way of preparing you. He got you on the
Yeah,
path for a reason. You just gotta
yeah.
chill and just be ready when the opportunity comes.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being on, man. And I'm thankful, and I'm gonna tag some of your stuff. So if you're watching, you're listening, inside the show notes, I write show notes. If you don't know, I do write show notes for every episode, and I'm gonna tag some of Aaron's information in there, but also some of the endorsement stuff that he's in there with, because I want you to see how dope it is that what he's doing. But I want you to understand that everybody's gift is different, but everybody's gift is still their calling. And regardless to what your gift is, regardless to what people have said, regardless to what it may look like in this season, you never know who's going to play your tape. You never know who's going to read what you wrote years later. And that will be an opportunity to move you forward. But being faithful to God is going to be a help for you in that. And so, praying for you again. Thank you for getting on Ministry Pivot. Looking forward to you being a part of the next pivot, the next season. We got a couple guests like this coming up. I don't want to say who, but I'm super excited about them being on. Don't forget to follow on Ministry Pivot on IG, on Facebook. Of course, go to ministrypivot.com for more information, and look forward to seeing you next time. Aaron, thanks again, bro, for
No
being
pleasure,
on
man. Anytime.
the pivot.
Anytime.
Amen.
Anytime.